on the radio too. Oh, look at this! Finally, order has been restored.
I got kicked out here.
Yes, Louis Amistol here. I am one of the co-hosts here, and we got one of our good friends on BVarsity Live, Kyle Jean from Pinnacle Performance Institute, has got some very handy things for all of us here. Trevor's over there.
Hi, I'm tweeting.
Trevor
Chris
Horn
doesn't. Oh, there you go.
Trevor Horn,
Yeah.
and then Zach Ewing here. But Kyle runs Pinnacle Performance Institute. It's one of the best gyms in town as far as training athletes for the next level. You're just kind of getting into the busy part of your year right now. Baseball season is. People think it's done. It's underway. It's going.
Yeah, it dies down in the summer, then picks back up in the spring. So this is my big time to really work with the strength gains and power gains. For instance, I got CSUB starting next week.
Okay.
And I'll get to have them for an entire preseason and fall
Right.
now.
Do they play? They play like a regular season in the fall, right, or in the winter, or how does that work for them? Are they just doing conditioning?
Who?
CSU.
Do they have a fall
No.
World Series or anything?
No.
Like inter squad?
I know. I don't know the exact rules on other levels. I know like D1, you don't play anyone but yourself
Right.
until
Right.
you play other teams in the spring. We just had inter squads when I was in college. I know some lower divisions. I know JUCO too. I think they have some type of fall where they could play other teams.
Right.
But it's pretty lonely.
I think JUCO plays as many games as single A baseball in some cases.
Yeah, I know they get a lot in.
But this is the time of year you can send them home sore and not feel bad about it, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So I try to stress a lot with all like high school kids because they want to go summer ball to fall ball to spring ball to summer ball, and I'm like, you need a couple months off to just not throw and just get stronger and kind of bring back your body the way it should be, and then go
Right.
ruin it again when you throw for a whole season. But we're cracking through a little bit.
One of the things that we did this last year, and I think for Zach and I, it was one of the best experiences we had was going through your basic assessment, which showed how poorly fit I was, and Zach was nimble
Only
and
slightly
quick.
better, yeah.
I mean, that was one of the most helpful things I think I've seen in a long time, just purely from an athletic standpoint and knowing where I'm at.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things. I feel like I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the eval thing, so I want all the information I can get in the shortest amount of time.
Right.
And actually, there's it's called the ballistic ball, and only 2 people in the world right now are using it for baseball. It's the Detroit Tigers strength coach and me. So
Oh, really?
I happened to get on with the guy when he was first inventing it over that myo test thing you guys did on
Yeah,
the bar.
right.
He used to sell that, and I was nagging him forever about how to measure rotational power, and he came up with this ball, and he sent me one. I already broke the first one, but
Not surprising.
Imagine
based
that.
on-
Yeah.
It's a very industrial look and feel at Pinnacle Performance because you get in there and you do work. It's not real fancy, but it's just very, very effective. And that's I think that's key about what you work with the kids there. You know, it's the little things that
yeah,
make
and
a difference.
that's I've talked about it before. That's one of the hard part is you don't always got to go in there and bust your butt nonstop for an hour. It's kind of about more the quality of work you're getting
Right.
and preventing injury. And in fact, we're also going to be adding a good friend of mine, a physical therapist. He's going to start doing these sports injury prevention assessments, and we're going to be able to make handouts and hand out all the information you need based on your assessment for what corrective exercises, where you lacked in flexibility and mobility. And because like I said, our number one goal is injury prevention, and then we want to get stronger, faster,
Right.
and better. Cause
There was a fascinating story last week in Sports Illustrated about preventing Tommy John surgery and some of the studies are doing that. There's so much technology available that can help.
yeah, I think I didn't read the article. Someone else brought it up to me, but I think one of the things is like how much we throw. and
Yeah, how
they
much
throw
how much you
year-round.
throw, what your rotational flexibility is, and some of the things you're talking about.
It's crazy.
Should there be a limit? I mean, that's one I think I hear a lot now. Is should there be a limit in throwing?
Yes.
Well, and that's the
Didn't
biggest
even finish
thing
the
is-
question.
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah.
shut me off. Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's so much research right now from Tom House, who's he's part of like the USA Baseball and Little League, and Dr. Glenn Fleissig, and all these different doctors they have recommendations out for how much you should throw from a 8-year-old, 10-year-old, and then obviously as a pro athlete, it's a lot easier because you're periodized. I mean, you know exactly how many months out of year you're throwing, when to take a break and when not. But dealing with like I said, the summer ball, fall ball, spring ball, like when is your time off, and
Right.
people don't get it. They just keep throwing and throwing. Now some people need to, but
Right.
majority of people need to take a little bit of time off.
Well, and that was one of the points I think of it was that different people can get away with different things. You see a pitcher with a herky-jerky motion and think, guy's going to hurt his arm, and he's fine his entire career. And then Jose Fernandez of the Marlins, who has this beautiful delivery, had Tommy John surgery. So what exactly is it that causes it? And that's some of the stuff that they're starting to look into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chris, you had a point, Trevor.
Well, and that's the thing is a lot of people look at it and be like, oh, but the guys in the majors are only pitching every fifth day where, you had guys like Walter Johnson and all the way up into Nolan Ryan. They were going on 2 days rest, 3 days rest. But it, like you alluded to, it starts at the younger age. Guys probably weren't, Walter Johnson probably wasn't throwing as much as an 8-year-old is now. Nolan Ryan wasn't throwing that much when he was a 15-year-old like 15-year-olds now. Is pitch count, and not only on the mound, but in the training regiment, is that the biggest thing that you need to teach these young, boys and girls, even in softball, to just kind of know your limitations?
Yeah, I mean, softball's crazy. They throw like 4 or 5 games a day, and I don't get
But
how
that's
they do
also
it.
a
But
natural-
also, yeah,
that's a natural pendulum
underhand's
rotation
natural,
for
where
the arm.
overhand's not. I mean, there's a lot. You get a lot of things like humeral retroversion, where your humerus actually, as you throw, you start getting to this external rotated position, and you stay there, and you never really restore internal rotation, and now you put more stress on your elbow, and it goes on and on and on. But it does start kind of down at those younger ages, where now people get so specialized in sports so early that it's like, I'm going to be a baseball player, and how could you decide that at such an early age?
Right.
You might be a better skateboarder. You'll never know, honestly. But they got them doing this stuff, and they throw a lot, and they want to win the. I always make fun of the people that want to win the 10-year-old all-world trophy and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, you won't remember that in 5
Right.
years.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
I
gonna
don't,
go
I don't
away.
remember most of high school
I
anymore.
don't even know where all my trophies
Yeah.
are.
We actually have, he's here for a reason, guys, and it's pretty good stuff. This is one of the more interesting things. I was reading this before we even got in here, but we got a slideshow here. We're going to take this first one. This is really important stuff here. 5 nutritional habits for athletes. And
Zach, take notes. We
Yeah,
both
this is
did.
this is for the flabby
Actually-
among us like myself.
Actually, everybody, this is really good content, and we'll go ahead and get to this. All right, so the first slide we're going to go to, this is something that I think institutionally, I don't follow this at all, and I think there's some good points in here.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to keep it simple at 5. I'm really a lot of my young athletes are asking me, how do I gain weight? How do I lose weight? How do I get bigger? How do I maintain what I'm at? And so I'm trying to keep it simple about habits, not about like calorie counting so much and all the crazy science stuff that just blows their minds. So right now I got 5 habits we're working on. Number 1 is eat breakfast. Basically, when you sleep, you put yourself into a catabolic state, which is your body starts to tear down tissue to survive. And so you want to, right when you wake, you want to kick your body into the anabolic state or recovery and building, and eat breakfast. Because I mean, people always say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, it's true, it is. But as a high schooler, you pretty much get up just in time to throw clothes on, wash your face,
Right.
and go to school.
Right.
What? I never did that.
Or just miss.
Yeah, but you
first
were also a
period is what I did.
4.9 GPA.
I still did that.
That's why it's called breakfast. It's called break the fasting, and so you got to actually do it. And also rehydrating when you sleep, that's 8 hours you go without any fluid intake. So you want to get up, and they say have 2 cups of water right when you wake up. That's pretty hard. If you ever had water, straight water,
Yeah.
cold, whatever it is, it tastes nasty. And
Yeah.
so there's, coffee and green tea, or just putting some additives in it, but trying to stay away from a lot of the
Doesn't that also come from it jolts the body back up again? Because they say that a lot of these diets will always say 2 cups of cold water first thing in the morning, and the cold water kind of jolts the body too out of that state, right?
Yeah, water really has not much nutritional. I'm saying as in there's no nutritional flavor into it. But the cold water, I don't know. I've seen what you're talking about. I've seen it, but I don't know. I just think it's just pure rehydrating.
Okay.
Where you need to eat your protein is what kind of kicks your body into it now. Feeds your muscles, and you got to have the carbs. And your carbs can come from fruit, vegetables, or complex carbs such as oatmeal, whole grains. Where your proteins, your eggs, your meat, turkey bacon, cottage cheese. I never had cottage cheese. The texture is horrible.
Throw some salsa into it. It's awesome.
Milk,
Right.
things like that. And then, that's what we're working on right now. Is how do we? It's not just telling these kids eat this. It's trying to come up with small, simple meal plans that
Right.
they can do.
And then next one is this is great advice too. Going back to the beginning, stay hydrated.
Yeah, you'd be surprised if you had someone keep a log of how much water they drink a day, how underhydrated they are. And they say the bare minimum is about 6-7% of your body weight. So, as an example, take a 150-pound athlete, they should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. Now, when they're exercising, I mean, typical hard, intense workout for an hour, so you're looking at about another 32 ounces for just the normal day with the workout. 132 ounces is like, I think a gallon's 128 ounces, so
Yeah.
you're at a gallon of water already. We live in Bakersfield, so
Right.
it gets hot, and you got to compensate for that, so then you add more. And the 2% rule is pretty cool because it's an easy way to tell, like, when you're working, obviously if you sweat, that sweat doesn't come from nowhere. It's hydration leaving your body. And so if you weigh yourself before you work out and then you weigh yourself after and you've lost more than 2% of your body weight, you need to get that rehydrate and get those fluids back. So you're looking at about 16 ounces, 2 cups of water for every pound you lose.
I think Trevor Lewis and I drink that much coffee. It doesn't count, though.
What are you talking about?
And the big thing, like how you get it back, water, electrolyte, added water, sports drinks. They say sports drinks have carbs in it. One of the reasons for longer lasting exercises, you need like an endurance type thing where you're going for prolonged a whole football practice.
Right.
Some baseball practices. You want those carbs for extra energy, but if you're looking to lose weight, where you gain a lot of your weight is in what you drink. So one rule is try not to drink your calories.
One thing we have to remember for you is that when we set up the live stream again at Garces, we'll have to add that hydration into it.
I am a heavy set guy, and I have not, even though I've been here, a month and a half now, I don't know what it is, but I have not adjusted to the constant heat here, and I am just...
He's from Sacramento. It's hot there, too.
But we have a Delta... Sacramento has this thing called the Delta Breeze. It doesn't come into Bakersfield. I don't know what it is, but I just perspire. It's out there. I don't care. People who see me around, well, no, I'm just a sweaty guy.
Well, this segment's going downhill fast.
Moving on to number 3.
Thank Lewis for bringing
eat
that up.
Often.
Not my
I'm trying to
fault.
help you out, and this is important information. I'm getting actually...
I know all of this stuff
Yeah.
because I read it, but I just don't follow it. So
Yeah.
I need somebody on it for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, the third rule, eat and eat often. I mean, your 3 normal meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, everyone knows
this
them.
one I can get behind.
Where you want to try to snack in the middle because, again, we want to keep our body in a pretty constant state, our metabolism, to where if we're having big meals, lots of stuff, we're going to have blood sugar spikes, and then you don't get into the whole insulin sensitivity thing. But,
Right.
I mean, I just try to encourage, and we'll see in a later slide, like to kind of plan out your day, base your meals, your snacks, every 3 hours. You never want to get to the point where you're starving because I do that some days when I'm busy working and then I'm like, oh, I'm starving. And then you just totally goes downhill.
Yeah.
You go get the worst meal you can think of, but it's so good and it's actually
Bad for
drains you even
Yeah.
more, doesn't give you the energy. And so you don't want to never get to that starving point.
And that also keeps your metabolism constantly going so it doesn't stop and say, oh, I don't need anything. If you're constantly feeding it, it's always constantly trying to grab more.
Right. And that there's a lot of actually research going on right now. Is the metabolism thing, is it really true? Is it myth? But the bottom line you can't fight is that it doesn't make you ever get to a point of hunger that you need, and it gives you the fuel you need, especially as athletes, where you're practicing. Maybe you're lifting in the morning, you're practicing during the day, and it goes on and on.
And one thing that I've learned, eat slowly. I eat way too quickly.
I eat fast,
and you
too.
overeat
Yeah.
when you eat slowly.
Because
If
you never know you're full.
You overeat when you eat quickly because your body doesn't respond to that state of fullness.
We'll have that discussion later with Jeff Evans. All right, number 4, recovery. And
Yeah,
this is
so
another key one.
I mean, you have your typical after your what everyone thinks is recovery is well after exercise. You know, your cool down, stretching, your breathing technique. Then you also have your post exercise nutrition, and like we just talked about the 2% rule, the hydration, making sure as soon as you're done working out, you got to rehydrate. The repair process starts as soon as you're done, not at night, not in the morning. Unplugging from the world. This is a new one that I need to do.
Yeah, I was just thinking
But,
about that too. This is when I saw this. I was thinking this
I
is
was
important.
reading like a good handful of scholarly studies, research articles that talk about this and what people do and how their sleep habits. And a good rule is about 30 minutes before you're actually going to plan to go to sleep. Try to unplug from the world, get rid of the social media, the computers, all that. Because my brain runs through a checklist every night of what I need to do the next day, and it runs for more than 30
Right.
minutes. It runs for a couple hours.
And you two are two guys that have little kids too. I mean,
Oh yeah.
right? So
And with
unplugging is
I mean, he's
difficult.
sleeping right next to me.
Yeah, the 7 to 9 hours is tough when you got
Oh
little
yeah,
ones.
I don't think I've slept 7 9 hours.
Well, and you know
in a
what
long
also helps
time.
when unplugging from the world is grabbing a book or grabbing a copy of the Bakersfield Californian and reading before bed
Right.
rather than reading on, it's that light and that constant stimulation of your eyes that needs to unwind.
Insert promo right there.
Yeah, I know. There you go.
And then the 7 to 9 hours of sleep. A good one I'd rather watch your fluid intake before you go to bed. because you don't want to be waking up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's no way to stop your sleep. It's to
Right.
have to get up and then have a dark room, like clear your mind, let it all that 30 minutes before, let all that those worries and what you got to do the next day run through your mind and try to clear them out. It's easier said than done, but it's something to work on.
And good advice here, last but not least.
Yeah, have a plan. This is probably the number one place we fail as adults, as young athletes. And here's a typical, I just threw this together, typical high school schedule. When you wake up, when you eat breakfast, when you leave school, when you should have a snack, about lunchtime. And now that part's pretty much mapped out for you when you're in school day. But now after school, am I working out today? I need to have a good pre-workout meal. And we go into that with the kids. And now I go do my strength workout. And I have to have my post-workout meal. Am I going to go hit later? Am I going to throw a bullpen? Am I going to shoot around? Do I have practice later? Well, then we got to plan for dinner. I got to do homework and then unplug and sleep. So
I like that hour and a half for homework. Kids out there, do an hour and a half of homework.
I just wish we'd asked Lawrence and Justin before they left if they've ever gone to bed at 9 p.m. since they're about 8 years old. That's tough. That's tough.
But when you're looking at
when you get up at 6,
I get up at 4:30 and I go to bed at like 10:30. But it's just kind of how it is. And luckily, I'm not trying to get a scholarship.
Yeah,
or
right.
anymore.
Right.
I'm over that.
But you've already been there. But
Yeah,
it's good. It's good to keep in that practice of doing that stuff.
Yeah,
too.
and that's one of the best ways to make sure you get a good night's sleep is go to bed at the same time every day, every night.
Right.
Good luck with that, Zach.
Yeah.
I do actually go to bed at about the same time every day. It's just that I wake up at varying times depending on which child is screaming.
Or
Big
standing,
Kyle
on your,
knows.
head, standing on your head.
Right.
Is your child's mobile now, right? Is he?
Oh yeah, he's 1.5. He's
So, yeah,
right
he's
at that
walking
perfect
around.
age. Or
Right.
we put a ball in his hand, he throws it. So
Nice.
he's right-handed.
Right.
Not like me.
He's not like J-Rob's kid and jumps off of like rocks and stuff, does he?
He's getting
there?
I saw J. Rob's kid last night with a big welt over his head because he fell on the gym floor at Garces. It's like every time I see you, you've got a big bruise. We need to work on that.
All right. Well, good stuff. The facility is Pinnacle Performance Institute. It's out on Jemani. What's the exact address again?
12757, right by that big American Kids building.
Any expansion yet? Was there anything you've did over the summer that we need to
We
catch up on?
actually, I'm putting in. Like you say, I'm actually really doing it now.
Right.
So like 4 hitting tunnels
very
for
nice.
baseballs, just so kids rent them out or kids can go hit or throw when they're done. I got some more. I feel like I'm always adding to that place. I need to.
It's good though.
It's good.
It's good. It keeps you occupied, keeps us busy, and it gives us a reason to come out there and see that because we want to see Zach Ewing hit next.
Ooh.
So, phone number and website.
Phone number 374-3278, which spells fast. I thought of that one myself.
Right there you go.
And,
374 fast, right?
374 fast.
And the website is PinPerf, so the first 4 letters of Pinnacle, PINN, and the first 4 letters of Performance, PERF.com.
We'll stick those in the show notes for you guys here on BVarsity, and we thank Kyle for joining us. He'll be back probably in another week or two because we're going to keep him around one of these days when J-Rob comes back so we can make some picks with him.
I want to try to take a couple swings at can I go like a 75 mile an hour fastball? Can I take a swing at that? And
That's probably what I'd top out at right now. So.
okay, well then can I go about a 45 mile an hour
You're just too
fastball?
sweaty for it. We can't get you on.
Trevor, just bunt.
I don't want to bunt because then I'll look like
All right.
like Stanton.
Kyle, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right
Absolutely.
back. We got the folks from North Bakersfield Toyota, Zion coming up, and Bill Wright Toyota. And we'll talk to them a little bit about what they got going on. And then we'll have picks and rankings and Zach Ewing and this guy. And we'll be right back after these messages.